Monica, your time has come.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Good afternoon, everyone. We will actually start with an announcement for your diaries and for next week. Next week, 21st of April, 24th of April, the President of the General Assembly will convene a one-day high-level plenary meeting to commemorate and promote the International Day of Multilateralism and Diplomacy for Peace. The event will take place in the General Assembly Hall in accordance with General Assembly Resolution 73/127. This will be an important opportunity to discuss the challenges of multilateralism and the way forward to strengthen the multilateral system for international peace, security, and prosperity, and more details will be announced soon in regard with the list of participants as well. And President Espinosa concluded several meetings yesterday with representatives of Bretton Woods institutions on better coordinating investments on financing for development. Mr. Espinosa said that the concept of making the UN relevant to all is based on three principles: global leadership, shared responsibilities, and collective actions. She said that these principles are also to be applied to financing sustainable development. She met representatives of the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and also the World Trade Organization and the UN Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD. The PJ began her day with an informal meeting with the General Committee. Ms. Espinosa talked about improving working methods of the G8 to better address current global challenges. This afternoon, she will have a luncheon with representatives of small island developing states and on building climate resilience. The event is being hosted by the Permanent Mission of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and will be attended by the country's Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, His Excellency Camilo Gonçalves, as well as the Special Envoy for 2019 Climate Action Summit, Ambassador Luis Alfonso de Alba, among other guests. Mr. Espinosa later will meet the Steering Committee on Accessibility and take part in the interactive dialogue with the G77 plus China meeting at 3 p.m. in the ECOSOC chamber. And finally, I would like to correct a piece of information given in a reply to one of our colleagues here on the global investment needed annually to implement the Sustainable Development Goals. The correct figure, according to the World Investment Report 2014 by UNCTAD, is between $5 to $7 trillion, not $6 billion, as previously mentioned. This was a question related to the challenges of financing for development discussed in the fourth annual ECOSOC Forum on Financing for Development, which opened on Monday here in New York. This is actually everything we have for today. Do you have anything else? If not, you do. Carla, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Is the Asia infrastructure, the new, I believe, Chinese-led Asia infrastructure bank, being involved in the discussions of financing for development? And another question, if $5 to $7 trillion are needed, according to the Disarmament Commission and the revolving monitor they had on the first floor, those trillions of dollars are available in arms payments. Is there any consideration, because I've raised this question many, many times with Amina Mohammed, any possibility of that being considered a source for financing for the SDGs?
This is certainly a discussion that, as you said, has been mentioned before. I think the most important point for the PGA is the collective action that needs to be taken immediately in order to address the question of financing for development. The world has agreed on a working plan, on an agenda. We are talking about the SDGs by 2030. And there is clearly a serious gap in the financing. So that's why she has been appealing to financial institutions, but also member states, stakeholders, the private sector, and the public sector. As you know, the green economy jobs will play a big role in this equation. And her call, her appeal is that the financing is made available, because this is important to accomplish the objectives that the world member states here in this own house have presented themselves. Masood, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you tell us, does the PG has any opinion about the situation in Iran, where the floods have devastated part of the country?
Well, unfortunately, this has been, this year, we have had too many stories on this. I mean, the PGA, of course, extends her solidarity to the victims, and this has been the case in other countries as well. I mean, we talked here about Cyclone Idai, and as we all know, there have been floods in Iran, as you mentioned the other day. So she extends her solidarity to the victims, and of course, she is following efforts of humanitarian organizations, of our own system in helping the victims where needed. So thank you very much, and I see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you.